is up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, being subbed. If you're not, hit the button, and if you're listening on YouTube, hit the like. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into this conversation. I wanted to just share this, and this is actually a couple of different people, but we got to have a conversation about this, because when it comes to, especially, we know there's just nasty old men, period, no matter what the ethnicity. We know this. But it's just disgusting to see it and hear it on a level of so-called celebrity to give passes and excuses for these guys when it's just not hard to do the right thing. Now, we know the I Believe I Can Fly singer, if he ever gets out of prison, he will be, if he's still alive, close to 80, okay? I just have no sympathy for him, because you had the world as your oyster. You could have had any woman, and probably did have a lot of them of legal age, but you desired those that are much younger.
Do you like teenage girls?
When you say teenage, how old are we talking?
Girls who are teenagers.
19?
19 and younger.
I have some 19-year-old friends, but I don't like anybody illegal, if that's what we're talking about.
Child, these old creepy men are just disgusting. Now, I talked about this a little bit before, because when the news came out about Marcus Houston and him being 39 years old, marrying a 19-year-old, I talked about this, and I said that it's wrong, and I definitely was not here to defend it. But it also just goes back to the men who made the laws of this country, statutory laws, the age of consent, all of these different things. Think about it. Men put these things in place not to protect their daughters, but to protect themselves. And there's so many different sects. And when I say sex, I'm talking about SECTS, sex, which is a short phrase for sections of people. There's religious sects that have, like the Warren Jeffs guy who's in prison for life, that's still controlling people on the outside, which is insane. That just goes to show you how the minds of people can be controlled. But that's another story for another time. But that FLDS cult that he runs, these old men are marrying multiple females, not women, multiple females, and they start what they call courting them at like 12 and 13 years old. It's disgusting. So different states have these ages of consent. And then now you've got Benzino on a podcast saying so much that it's like it has his own daughter, who wasn't close with him in the first place, out here just outwardly denying that she has a relationship with him. And she said some things that I actually agree with when it comes to family. But yeah, her dad is out here pretty much trying to vouch for R. Kelly.
Do you think we should give R. Kelly a second chance?
Everybody deserves a second chance. But I know that Elvis, a lot of them are 14, 15. I know Nick with young girls, to keep it 100, right? I'm not into that. Again, the legal age is 16 years old. So does that make it right if it does it? Yes or no? To everybody on the table.
Absolutely
does that make it right?
No.
If it's legal, does it make it right if it dates a 16-year-old?
Makes it very wrong. I don't agree.
No, it's gross.
All right. So, but it's legal in America.
Right.
So why the is R. Kelly doing all this time? Because you know why? Because they're 14 and 2 years younger. But you don't think that the ones that you don't think that the people who cleared it for 16 years old didn't know that they're with 13 and 14s too. Right. Like, even to make a age that young to be the law, you already know they're going under that.
Right.
I'm not condoning Nick with little girls. It's sick.
Right.
All right. It's sick.
I agree.
But I don't think R. Kelly should rot in jail for 30 years either.
And I still be riding the R. Kelly. I don't like.
Listen,
I
man.
be playing my and people looking at me. I'm like, nah.
But what about R. Kelly getting when he was a kid. They didn't take in consideration none of, and they exploited him and made all these documentaries that all these people made money off of.
Right.
Them parents and them girls knew what they were dealing with R. Kelly. A lot of people knew that. You know what I'm saying? But R. Kelly wasn't educated, man.
Do you think we should give R. Kelly a second chance?
Everybody deserves a.
Okay. And like I said, this age of consent thing, we know who made the laws. We're not going to go into all of that, but we know who made the laws. It was white men. White men made the laws. But just because it is the law doesn't make it right for you. Because let's be clear, there are sometimes, let's say the age of consent is 16 and the person hasn't turned 16 yet. They're 15 years old. And then you have a young guy, who is 19, 18, went to school with the person. They were in a, they weren't in the same grade, but they went to the same school. There are people that have been charged for statutory RAPE in those situations that the parents were upset because the daughter, what they feel like, was taken advantage of by someone that's older. In those types of situations, I feel that isn't fair, but not a man in his 40s and 50s, 30s for that matter, being with a 15 or 16-year-old, 14, they're definitely not. That's disgusting. So, yeah, he had all of the sense about himself. Don't try to play victim now with the what about him being molested when he was a child. You know better, you do better. You got the access and the resources and the money to get help. Seek help, not PUSSY. And especially not from someone that's younger. So no, the excuses don't fly in this country. And we know some people, they do get the benefit of the doubt because of the privilege and the money. But overall, they are not taking into consideration your previous issues growing up as a child, because they don't see him as a victim, being someone who has made so much money, had so much access to resources over the years. If that was truly indeed a problem and you knew it was a problem, then you could have sought help for it. But now you want to use that in your defense. It just doesn't fly. But to see a man like Benzino, because he's just one of many, unfortunately, that are sitting here vouching for this person and vying for him to be released, a lot of times it's because they see themselves in that person. And it's like, I could not say they did all of the things that he had been accused of, but a lot of times when you see yourself in that same situation, you see yourself in those shoes, not just being a black man, but being a black man who has been caught up in situations where you were with someone that was younger, or maybe you didn't even really know their age and it could have been you. Then you have more sympathy and sorrow for the person. But real men who would never ever, they don't feel that way about him. Absolutely not. So they're not going to be out on podcasts or even hitting the button to record a video on their phone and upload it to social media to sit and try to defend R. Kelly. It's just not going to happen. And speaking of another creepy old man, because listen, these people, they get on these podcasts or they get on their phones and they hit the record button, or maybe they get on social media and hit that button to go live, and they just say a lot of things that they really should just keep off of the public platforms, because you just continue to reveal yourself. And I don't even think they're smart enough to even know that. So Luke, I refuse to call him Uncle Luke, but people call him Uncle Luke. He had some advice for young women. Okay, if you can believe that. This man that is known for, 2 Live Crew and the explicit material, he and his group, they were pretty much the people that got the ban, they got the ban, and then they took it to the Supreme Court and got it to the point where they were able to continue to do explicit music, but put the explicit lyrics label on the music. He fought for the right to be explicit, okay? Okay? So I don't expect anything less from this person. He hasn't turned from his ways and become a pulpit pimp, meaning a pastor. But I'm saying he's just continuing to do, I believe, what he's always done, but now he's pretty much like a grandpa spewing stuff like this out of his mouth.
Get them in. You gotta cook. You gotta be a great cook. You gotta be great at giving head. Your stuff gotta be tight and right. Half of y'all don't know how to douche. Y'all need to go back to the old days. Hey fellas, if you go in the girl in the girl bathroom and in the shower, she don't have that enema bag. I'm having too much fun. If she don't have that bag in there with that vinegar and water in there to make that thing tight and right, these girls they lost right now. I'm speaking of alien right now. They have no idea about that enema bag where they put that thing in there and they make it tight and right.
Let me pause it for a minute. He sounds so stupid. He sounds like a stupid old man. First of all, I know his mouth is funky. His teeth are all over the place. He's sitting there giving vaginal advice to females while he's not even taking dental advice. He probably doesn't even go and get his teeth cleaned every 6 months. I'm not saying he needs to go and get veneers and do the, big chiclet teeth like a lot of people are doing now. But he's sitting there giving vaginal advice to young women, talking about you don't even know how to douche. But the nigga, sorry, he's talking about an enema. Like, do you not know what an enema is? An enema is not the same thing as a douche. A douche, oh my God, I can't even believe that I'm talking about this. First of all, I can't even believe he's trying to give advice to women on how to keep themselves clean when he has pretty much been a king of male whores for how long now? He's sitting there, gray hairs in his head, gray hairs in his beard and mustache, teeth as yellow as I don't know what, teeth all over the place, probably has a white milky crust on his tongue. His mouth is probably smelling horrible, okay? And he's sitting there trying to give advice to women on how to keep themselves clean. And then he said an enema bag. An enema is to have a I'm not going to get graphic, but those who know, you know. An enema, you better not stick an enema up your woman parts, okay? That's not where it goes. But then he's saying you don't know how to douche. First of all, douching, for those who don't know, that is not something that any woman should be doing on a regular basis. That's actually something that if someone has some buildup of bacteria that your gynecologist may prescribe for you to do, but no one's just doing that every day. This isn't the 60s, 70s, or not even the 80s, okay? But we know that's what he's used to, right? So he's talking about his times. He really should not be sitting out here giving this unsolicited advice to young women, talking about you don't know how to keep a man. And if you watch the video, which I will put the link to in the description box if you care to see it, when he said you gotta give good HEAD, and he's doing the hand movement as if he's, like he's got his hand on some young woman, and I'm gonna say young woman, young girl's head, doing the motion, because I'm quite sure that's what he's been used to. Probably just did it a few days ago with a young woman, in my personal opinion. He's disgusting. And he's sitting here giving this unsolicited advice about how half of y'all don't know how to, keep a man because you don't know how to do this and you don't know how to do that. Like, you're a man whore. You don't need to be out here giving advice to young women on how to keep a man when you've pretty much been someone that has wanted to run through women, multiple of them, pretty much in the same night probably, and you're talking about how to keep a man? Seriously?
Soak in that, what? Epsom salt, bring it back. They right here going to get surgery trying to tighten their thing up. Why people don't do that? Why people don't get surgeries to tighten the stuff up? Why everybody they want to get this surgery, the butt surgery, take a rib out, they going on Ozempic, to lose the weight, but ain't nobody trying to tighten up the stuff and have the grip up. Why y'all ain't trying to tighten the stuff up to have the grip up? Why y'all don't know nothing about soaking in some Epsom salt? Why y'all don't know how to, put the vinegar on and everything? Y'all don't know nothing about that. These young mamas don't know how to teach these girls this. That's why your stuff all over the place. Your stuff all over the place. I'm sorry. When it's all, you can't keep no man like that, man. Feel like you've been ran through. They too young.
He's gross. He's gross, just like a lot of these old guys that are in his age range that have been young whores, middle-aged whores, and now you're an old whore, in my personal opinion. Even if you're not doing it as much as you used to, you still got it on you. You're not a born-again virgin. And him being one of the main ones that have run through a lot of the young women, and this is the culture that we have these days, where you have the people like Sexy Reds and all these other ones where it's glorified. And if these young girls, young women, they don't have the household, because you have now this, it's not even now, it's just getting worse, where you have these households where people are just having babies, they're not in relationships, they're definitely not married. And these guys like him, they want to blame women for the girls being this way and not blaming the guys for ducking and dodging and running, and not even just ducking and dodging and running, but just screwing so many different people that they don't even know how many kids they might have out here. Because I've said this over and over again, and it's just a true statement. A female can have a pregnancy. I won't even say a baby, because you can have multiples, but that's not even common. A woman can have a pregnancy every 9 months and give birth. A male, they can get 9 people pregnant in a day or more, but I'm just basically saying, so if the so-called people who are supposed to be the leaders, the males, would be the leaders of being responsible, you wouldn't have the females being loose, like he was saying, your stuff all over the place. Why don't you get the surgery to tighten that up? You want to get BBLs and get ribs taken out, but you don't get the surgery to get that tightened up. Why do you even know about that, sir? It's just disgusting. I don't even want to go into any more of this, but I just really wanted to share this and get your thoughts on it, because I just feel that it's just gross. And the more we have social media and people can just hit that button, go live, or record a video and upload it to their social media platform, or we've got these different podcasts that are bringing people on like Benzino to sit down and talk about stuff like this, the more people expose their ignorance. And not just their ignorance, but the way they're actually living. If more so than their ignorance, more so the way that they have been living. So you can let me know what you think about this, guys. I'll put the link if you want to watch these videos in the description box. So thanks for being here, liking, and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.
Maybe we're mistaken. Don't wanna talk, don't wanna see, don't wanna feel. What is left?